Title: The Crimson Veil. The night was thick with an unnatural stillness as a dense fog crept through the ancient cemetery. Tombstones, weathered and worn by time, stood like silent sentinels over the resting souls below. Moonlight struggled to penetrate the heavy mist, casting an eerie glow on the moss-covered graves. Few dared to venture into this desolate place after dark, for it was said that the Crimson Veil, a legendary vampire, roamed these grounds, seeking the lifeblood of the living. In the small town of Raven's Hollow, nestled at the edge of the cemetery, whispers of the Crimson Veil had haunted the inhabitants for centuries. The old folks spoke of a curse that befell the town, a curse that bound the vampire to this sacred burial ground. As the clock struck midnight, the townsfolk locked their doors and shuttered their windows, fearful of the shadows that lurked beyond. Emily, an adventurous young woman with a penchant for the supernatural, scoffed at the tales of the Crimson Veil. She prided herself on her skepticism and believed that the stories were merely the product of overactive imaginations. One fateful evening, however, Emily's curiosity got the better of her. A mysterious stranger had arrived in Raven's Hollow, whispering cryptic warnings of impending doom. The townsfolk dismissed him as a madman, but Emily's inquisitive nature drove her to seek the truth. Armed with a small flashlight and a heart pounding with excitement, Emily ventured into the cemetery, determined to unravel the mystery of the Crimson Veil. The fog wrapped around her like a cold, clammy embrace, making each step uncertain. Tombstones loomed like silent sentinels, and the distant hooting of an owl added to the oppressive atmosphere. As Emily delved deeper into the graveyard, a soft voice whispered through the mist, carrying a haunting melody. She froze, her breath catching in her throat. The voice seemed to call to her, drawing her toward a mausoleum bathed in an otherworldly red glow. Against her better judgment, Emily followed the ethereal melody, her flashlight cutting through the fog like a feeble beacon. The mausoleum door creaked open, revealing a chamber adorned with ancient symbols and flickering candles. In the center, a figure draped in a crimson cloak stood with an elegance that seemed both alluring and menacing. The figure turned to face Emily, revealing piercing eyes that glowed with an unholy hunger. "Welcome, Emily," the figure intoned, its voice a seductive whisper that sent shivers down her spine. "I've been expecting you." Fear gripped Emily, but an inexplicable fascination held her in place. The vampire stepped forward, the red glow intensifying, revealing sharp fangs glistening with fresh blood. The air thickened with an intoxicating scent, and Emily felt a magnetic pull, as if an invisible force compelled her to draw nearer. "You seek the truth, do you not?" the vampire murmured, its eyes locking onto hers. "The Crimson Veil is no mere legend, but a curse that binds me to this realm. I am condemned to feed on the living, unable to find peace until the curse is broken." Emily's skepticism wavered as the vampire recounted a tragic tale of betrayal and a love lost centuries ago. She felt a strange empathy for this creature of the night, a feeling that defied reason. The vampire extended a slender hand, inviting Emily to join in breaking the curse. Compelled by a force beyond her control, Emily placed her hand in the vampire's icy grip. In that moment, the ancient curse seemed to pulse through her veins, linking her destiny with that of the Crimson Veil. The mausoleum walls echoed with an eerie chant, and the very air seemed charged with supernatural energy. As the ritual unfolded, Emily's surroundings blurred, and she found herself in a dimly lit chamber adorned with ornate tapestries and antique furniture. The vampire, no longer cloaked in darkness, stood before her in human form, revealing a face that mirrored a tragic history etched in time. "I have yearned for release," the vampire whispered, its voice filled with a haunting sorrow. "But the curse demands sacrifice. It demands the lifeblood of the willing, a connection forged in the crucible of darkness." As Emily's senses returned, she realized the gravity of her decision. The ancient curse sought to bind her fate with that of the Crimson Veil, an eternal bond that transcended the boundaries of life and death. The vampire's eyes gleamed with a mixture of gratitude and hunger, and Emily felt a chill run down her spine. The town of Ravens Hollow plunged into a nightmarish abyss as the curse tightened its grip. Unexplained disappearances cast a pall over the community, and the once vibrant town square now lay shrouded in a perpetual gloom. Fearful whispers echoed through the narrow alleys, and the townsfolk, gripped by paranoia, turned on one another. Emily, now a reluctant accomplice to the Crimson Veil, struggled with conflicting emotions. The vampire, once a spectral figure of terror, became a companion in her loneliness. The night held no sanctuary, and the weight of the curse bore down on her shoulders like a suffocating darkness. One by one, the townsfolk succumbed to the insatiable hunger of the Crimson Veil. Each victim willingly offered their lifeblood, ensnared by the curse's malevolent allure. The once thriving community became a ghost town, its streets haunted by the tormented souls of those who had fallen prey to the curse. As the years passed, Emily's appearance remained unchanged, a testament to the unholy pact she had forged with the vampire. The town's folklore evolved to include her as the tragic figure bound to the Crimson Veil, a cautionary tale whispered from generation to generation. Yet, in the recesses of Emily's mind, a flicker of humanity remained. She yearned for redemption, a way to sever the cursed ties that bound her to the vampire. A mysterious wanderer, drawn by the tales of Ravens Hollow, arrived with an ancient book of forbidden lore, claiming to hold the key to breaking the curse. Emily, desperate for salvation, confronted the vampire with the stranger's revelations. The Crimson Veil, initially resistant, reluctantly agreed to the possibility of freedom. The ritual required a sacrifice, a selfless act that would sever the vampiric ties and release both Emily and the town from the curse. As the ritual unfolded in the desolate cemetery, the air crackled with an otherworldly energy. The stranger chanted ancient incantations, and the very fabric of the curse trembled. The Crimson Veil, caught between the yearning for release and the instinctive hunger, hesitated. Emily, with tears in her eyes, offered herself as the ultimate sacrifice. The ritual reached its climax, and a blinding light enveloped the graveyard. In that moment, the curse shattered, and the oppressive fog lifted, revealing a town that had been held captive by darkness for far too long. Ravens Hollow, though scarred by the haunting memories of its past, began to heal. The townsfolk, freed from the grip of the Crimson Veil, emerged from their homes, blinking in the newfound sunlight. The cemetery, once a realm of perpetual night, now lay bathed in the warm glow of dawn. The stranger, his task complete, vanished as mysteriously as he had arrived, leaving behind a town forever changed. Emily, no longer bound by the curse, stood in the midst of the healing community. The memories of centuries weighed heavily on her, but with a newfound sense of purpose, she vowed to rebuild what had been lost. The legend of the Crimson Veil persisted in the whispers of Ravens Hollow, a cautionary tale of the consequences of tampering with forbidden forces. The townsfolk, now united by a shared history of darkness and redemption, embraced the daylight with a newfound appreciation. Yet, as the years passed, a subtle hint of melancholy lingered in the air. The tale of Emily and the Crimson Veil became a bittersweet reminder that some scars, though healed, never truly faded. The cemetery, once a dreaded realm, transformed into a symbol of resilience, a testament to the enduring strength of those who faced the shadows and emerged into the light.